All right. Oh, big week. Big week. So the last time we talked was last Monday, February 27th.
Yes.
And at the time, that was when they got destroyed by Edmonton. Before that, the crowd, which I was part of them, screamed "Fire Hextall." The crowd booed them, and they waived Kapanen, who got picked up by the Blues, and then they played the Blues and beat them. Then they were home to Tampa and beat Tampa soundly. So they're on a 2-game winning streak. So now we are at February 28th. This the Tuesday, and they are in Nashville. They start a little what would you call it? Southeast trip, I guess. Nashville, Tampa, and Florida. Yeah, let's call it Southeast trip. And it was the beginning of the dad's trip. Okay. So before the game, they put Brock McGinn on waivers. And yet he played.
That is so wild to me. Like, and he played well. Oh my God, it was so wild to me because, I mean, it's like, we don't want you, but can you just for one more game?
It's like when you fire somebody and it's like, but can you train the next guy or something like that? Like, what are we doing?
My heart broke for him. Now, granted, I know McGinn has been kind of a bust for us. But like, that's not how you handle things.
The players were not happy, but oh well, what do you want?
Well, it is a business, right? And the business is winning.
It's exactly, it's a business. Yeah, McGinn has been really bad in making, I believe, 2.4 million, 2.7 million, or
didn't
something
he
like
get
that.
picked up?
No.
So he's stuck in Wilkes-Barre.
No, he got traded.
Where?
That was part of it was part of one of the trades.
Okay. So Friedman's down there.
Friedman and McGinn got waived.
Yeah.
They both cleared waivers. Friedman didn't go anywhere as far as I know. Friedman is
he's still there. I've seen pictures of him.
Yeah. So but McGinn, yeah, did clear waivers, and he was briefly in Wilkes-Barre. So they are in Nashville, and they win the game 3-1. It was scoreless through 2. Nashville scored on a horrific giveaway by Letang.
Chris Letang.
Yeah. And then Crosby has a breakaway from a long pass by
McGinn.
Brock McGinn.
That was so beautiful. No, it was so great though. I even I haven't seen that kind of flair in Sydney. With his confidence on breakaways, like I was out of my seat. I was so happy. It was beautiful. But it's ironic that McGinn with this huge pass. We don't want you, but thanks for that.
Hey, thanks. Thanks. Now you're fired. Get out of here. Pick up here. We'll put your stuff in a box and get out of here. So So Crosby ties it on the breakaway, and then Zucker scores on. Basically, Malkin gave it away, but then Zucker took it back from whoever and scored. So it was 2-1, and then there was a really sweet empty net goal by Rust, who dove and threw some
empty net goals do nothing for me.
Yeah, but this was like a golf shot. This was like he hit it and it like
they should be able to hit an empty net with their eyes closed from any place on that ice. Anytime I watch a player miss the net, I'm just like, it's open.
But this one he dove to get to the puck because the Nashville player was about to get it. So that wasn't the shot. But you're right. Yeah, why aren't there more empty net goals? I mean, my goodness.
They miss more than they don't, and I think One thing I used to do with my athletes when I coach kids in hockey was I'd have them skate. I'd feed them the puck, and then I'd have them go to the other end of the ice and hit the empty net. And we do this quite frequently. At least once a week in practice, we would do that because it's important, right? That's an opportunity to boost up the score. So yeah.
So yeah. So thoughts on the Nashville game?
Dumoulin, sensational play. He went with no errors, got an assist, had 4 hits and 5 blocks. Everyone crying out. It's going on a lot today too about Joseph being dropped or moved down for the new player. And why is Dumoulin still playing? Because he's playing well. Joseph has been really unpredictable lately. I know that's we'll talk about that after, but Dumoulin has been playing really well, and I don't understand the hate he's getting. It is so undeserved. It was when he wasn't playing well, but he's actually like that. Those are good stats. 0 errors, 1 assist, 4 hits, and 5 blocks, and that's just the ones I focused on. Really good show, Dumo. Love it. Sydney, his confidence in this game was just beautiful. It was beautiful. I was so happy to see that because I see that he struggles to maintain his confidence, and I mean he went 100% on the faceoff after the first period, and at the end of the night he was at 83% on the faceoff, and that is the domination that I want to see every game, every period, because I know he has it in him. It's just sometimes he forgets. I remember the first period was really dull, both sides. But it picked up in the second. I noticed it picked up, but I left. I had to go walk Gunner, dog I was taking care of. So I missed most of the second, and the third period was pretty wild. But I still find this team's very sloppy and disconnected. I don't see any chemistry. I see moments of it, but I do not see a collective chemistry like what we had when we had those back-to-back wins. And this team likes to get involved in scrums. We're seeing that a lot more lately. They're not angry enough to fight, but they're angry enough to rugby hug, as I like to call it. And it's not a good look. It shows you're frustrated more with yourself than it does anyone else. And I don't mind a good fight. In fact, I love a good fight. Sadly, I think our best chance at a fight is Jason Zucker. He's wild sometimes, isn't he?
Yes.
So my 2 big problems with the Pens still is the lack of chemistry and how sloppy they are. This was a high error game. We had 10 turnovers, 17 missed shots, and 27 errors in total. The 10 turnovers not so bad, missed shots kind of bad. We had Gensel, who had 1 assist, have 5 errors. That was 2 turnovers and 3 missed shots. Gensel's game isn't what it used to be. This is something Sullivan needs to look in on. Maybe talk to him. Maybe he needs a little bit more practice. Maybe he's doesn't believe in himself like he once was, but I've seen
Maybe
a big
he's hurt
fall in Gensel's game. And then we have Letang and Raquel with 4 errors each. Raquel had 4 missed shots, 1 assist. And Letang had 2 turnovers, 1 causing a goal, leading to a goal against us, and 2 missed shots. Letang went 0 points on the night, but he did have 4 shots on goal, 4 hits, and 3 blocks. So you kind of take in everything when you're looking at a player's production. And I wouldn't say that was a big miss. Like, we got saved by winning from that turnover, but we got to watch those. And then we got a bunch of 2 errors, like Joseph, Rust. And Rust's only point was an empty net. Patterson, Sydney, and Gino. And Gino went with no points. So production-wise, it wasn't the best game. Like I said, pretty sloppy and disconnected. And it's hard to make points and find your flow when you're so disconnected. So this is something that really needs to be worked on. But we did get the win, so. And it was a farewell tour to McGinn.
Yeah, it had to be. Well, I wonder if Gensel is hurt because he did miss practice today. They said for a maintenance day.
Well, yesterday they were off, so like Did they play last night? Yesterday?
They played Saturday.
Yeah, they were off yesterday, so he need 2 maintenance days. Maybe he's sick. I don't know. I didn't notice him get hurt. Could just, I don't know. It could just be something came up, like a doctor's appointment or something stupid, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed Heinen got to slot in there, and that made me extremely happy. I don't know why, but I think there could be something there if it was explored possibly. So maybe they took an opportunity to explore that today. Because I've been pushing for it. Remember you asked me who should play with Sydney?
You've been pushing for him all season, and basically he hasn't been playing much.
No.
So and now he is. So that's good. Yeah, so okay. So that was
Nashville.
That was Nashville. Then the next game was Thursday, the 2nd in Tampa. But before the game, they traded Teddy Bluger to Vegas for basically nothing. I mean, a 3rd round pick and some ECHL defenseman. But basically this was done to clear cap space because the trade deadline was the next day. Bluger just, I mean, I hate to say it, but he wasn't the same since he got hurt, since he broke his jaw.
No.
And okay, but you know.
Yeah, so, I haven't been feeling Bluger all season. I think I've always had a T beside his name for trade him, unfortunately. But you know, maybe under another coach. Who's the coach in St. Louis? Is it Bowman?
I don't know who the coach is. Well, it's he got traded to Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, he hopefully under the right coach he can be worked back to, you know, it's anything's possible. It's like when people say, you know, like, oh, you know, this player like Casey DeSmith, for example, like he could be brought out of his shell. He has magic in him. It's just he's not being handled properly. And I hope to God he stays off Twitter. Don't do it, Casey.
That's good advice for anybody. Stay away from Twitter.
Stay off. Literally, especially.
Don't I think famous people have a saying, don't read the comments. Whatever it is. Don't read the comments. If there's any post, any news article, anything, do not read the comments. It'll never be good. Just stay away from it. If I was a famous person or an athlete or something like that, I would pay someone to just look at the comments for me and just tell me the good things. And that's because I could not handle.
I don't think I would, if I was a famous athlete, I'd even bother with social media. Personally, I'd be too busy living.
Why would you? I mean, why? What?
I don't even like using social media, and I'm a nobody.
I mean, besides for like sponsorship opportunities or something like that, I don't really know what the point of an athlete.
Maybe that, but even still, you don't have to have social media. We had athletes were sponsored long before the internet, in ad campaigns, right? I don't know. It's foolish. Like, it's a really toxic place. You know, I
nothing good
without Twitter, but
nothing good comes from it. Nothing good for if you're an athlete or a famous person comes from it.
No, well, look at AB, Antonio Brown. Like he went off the deep end, and social media perpetuated him into that spiral even more so because of the attention he was getting, whether it be good or negative attention. He flew off, and he literally got worse. Just an example of
it's such a hard thing to stay away from that. If you know people are saying crap about you, whoever, regardless of the, you have that urge to reply to them and tell them, you know,
where to go.
Yeah, where to go. But you can't. There's nothing good happens. But yeah, so that's our lesson for the day. So then they have Thursday in Tampa, and the thinking is, well, they destroyed Tampa in Pittsburgh. the previous Sunday, and that was with
Tampa,
Elliott. So, oh boy, the Tampa's really going to come back and destroy the Penguins this time because they're going to have Vasilevsky, and oh, it's going to be a destruction. And the Penguins end up winning 5-4
in overtime.
in overtime. The first goal was scored by Jeannot, who they just acquired. Who
No,
Tampa
I
just
think
acquired.
it was what game?
Really, it was the Tampa game.
It was changed to Colton.
Okay. Really, it should be changed to Letang because the thing bounced off Letang's face and
I honestly
bounced.
wouldn't that be funny? Goals against, but I think a player should be like -5 points if they score into like help the other team score.
I know,
5
but it
points off
bounced
your
off
total.
it bounced off his face. It's not like he shot it into his own net or anything like that.
But that's the one that he had to get stitches, right?
Yes, he was
Oh my
out.
goodness, Letang. Poor Letang has gone through the ringer this year, hasn't he?
Oh my
But he just
goodness.
keeps bouncing back. Like he's so tenacious. I have gained so much admiration and respect for Letang this season alone. Like just remarkable. And he has such a good attitude about things. Like you can't ask for a better player. And he's been so clutch for us.
We kind of talked about this before, but this is the dad's trip. That had to be super tough for him. Just losing his dad.
Yeah.
That had to be tough. I know, you're supposed to be a professional and stuff like that, but still,
It's your dad. It's tough, especially like,
tough.
His dad probably had a hand in him getting into hockey, and
yeah,
like it's tough. Like I lost my dad back in the end of 2019, and I still struggle with it. Like I can't watch daddy-daughter stuff on TV without falling apart.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh, I can't handle it, and that's what happens, right? But we lose our dads a little too young, and that's what happens. It's painful.
Yeah. So yeah, in this game, the goal goes off his face, so he misses a good portion of the game, but comes back. He had a massive gash on his upper lip. Then okay, so Tampa scores first, and then Jeff Petrie scores like 2 goals in 25 seconds. What the heck was that? Petrie decides to show up.
Oh yeah, I think I tweeted about that. Finally earning your paycheck. I have not been a fan of Petrie. I'm still not. Like, okay, you had one good game, cool. But yeah, that was interesting.
And this was just went back and forth. Zucker scored on a beautiful long pass from Pedersen. And then
before you continue, actually, I made note of this. Heinen had a takeaway that led to Petrie's second goal.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I pay attention to those things because it's my favorite player. But yeah, as you were, so Zucker's goal.
Yeah. So it was eventually 3-3. Then Drew O'Connor makes this beautiful individual effort where he has a guy draped all over him, and he basically just
he was like, phenomenal.
Just puts him aside and scores a goal. Like, bro, that's a star-making moment right there.
The first thing I said is, Gino, are you watching? You paying attention? Because I find Gino will, if it's too hard, he won't put in the work. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. And it, like that instant with O'Connor was absolutely beautiful. I was very, very impressed with him.
That's a kind of thing where you say, should we try him on the first line? Should we try him on the second line? A big power forward?
I mean,
yes,
everybody's
please.
Talking about how our bottom 3 or bottom 6 got better. We didn't. There still needs to be, and I noticed Sullivan moved Carter to wing and Bonino to wing in practice today. I still don't think he knows what he's doing when it comes to organizing a proper line to have 4 solid lines. He's really sticking with the top 2 heavy, and you don't get the best out of Sidney or Gino every night. I mean, for example, this was a terrible game in Tampa for Sidney. I was not impressed with his play in that game at all, compared to the game before. Anyways, they were just 2 different people. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if Jake's back to play tomorrow. It's reported that he will be, and what Sullivan does, but I'm okay with moving Carter off the center if he's not performing, but I'm really into moving Carter to the press box because he's really bringing us down. And to bench a 38-year-old player, is he 38? I wrote it down. Yeah, he's 38. He turned 38 January 1st. Yeah, man, he doesn't even deserve 2 minutes of ice time, especially if he's not winning those faceoffs, because his production's gone down on the faceoffs too. He's declining. And I would love to be in the fly on the wall in the room when Sullivan's talking to Hextall about, like, why is Jeff Carter here? Can we, Sullivan's like, I'm gonna bench him, and Hextall's like, no, you're not. And
That's
then I'm gonna go and oh, it's just brutal.
Is that what's happening, or
so.
does Sullivan not want to bench him because then it would make somebody feel bad? I don't know what's going on.
That is totally on brand for Sullivan, because like when he finally decided, when he benched Kapanen for a few games, or was it like 5 or 6 games, he said, oh, it's really hard to do that. I'm sitting there going, no, it ain't. You're not performing. Sit. That's it. You have no.
It's your job, bruh. It's your job to make.
It's like, did you see that thing where Cooper benched Braden Point and Steve Stamkos for the last period of one of their games, and he had to like put out this apology thing, and I'm like, no, you don't apologize
was
or
that
explain
an
yourself for
apology?
anything. If you're not performing or pulling your weight, you sit.
I don't know if that was an apology. He basically said, I sat them because they weren't playing well, and we need people to play well.
I didn't mean apology. I mean, he was explaining why he was doing it. And a lot of people were agreeing. A friend of mine was like, that's stupid. You don't bench stars. I'm like, it don't matter who you are. If you're not competing, you're sitting.
Exactly. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're not pulling your weight, if you're not performing
sitting
well enough, you sit. That's the whole point of sports.
Yeah, and you know what? This is why I'm not a coach yet in the NHL. I don't know, because like I'm pretty much the same as John Tortorella with like certain aspects of his game. I'm the same as, and people are gonna hate this, but Mike Babcock in certain areas, not in all. But yeah, it's like, Sullivan, give me the reins, baby. I'll take you guys to the playoffs and pass the first round. And the second and the third.
Wow, that's a whole other thing about Sullivan. I do not understand why he's getting a free pass. I don't understand. First of all, the results haven't been there for how many years now? They haven't gotten past the first round in how many years?
And they've been swept.
And
twice.
Pathetic. It's pathetic.
It's really embarrassing, yeah.
God, and it's like, why? I mean, and Steelers fans want to have Mike Tomlin fired because they don't either don't make the playoffs, or they don't win very many games in the playoffs for like the past 5 years or something like that. Like, okay, what about Sullivan? What's his playoff record lately? I don't know. It's I don't understand.
Sports fans, man.
I don't understand why he's getting a free pass
or whatever. It's wild to deal with you guys.
That is very accurate. It is wild dealing with us. So how were missed shots? And
so we were actually low on the errors. We had 17 total with 8 missed shots and 9 turnovers. If we can keep it to that 17 or less in a game, we're winning. Because what we're going to do is we're going to be able to build our mentality based off less mistakes. Oh, I didn't miss the net twice today. Oh, I didn't turn over the puck once today. That is what helps us bring in confidence and connection within our own game. And then you build off this. So low errors, I love it. Number 1 was Gensel with 3, tied with Sydney with 3. Gensel had 3 missed shots. Sydney had 2 turnovers and 1 missed shot. That's why I said rough game for him, even though he did get an assist. And then in third, we have Ruda, Pettersson, and Gino with 2. Gino had 2 turnovers. Gino, that's his specialty. Like, that's one thing you can definitely guarantee from Gino is a turnover now and then. But aside from that, I've got another game with no errors from Dumoulin. like to point that out. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I hate the hate he gets. It's not deserved at this point right now. So I like to make note of that. But yeah, good game for Errors. We barely won, had to win an OT. That's a barely win to me always. But Jason Zucker, like, you're gonna steal me away from Heinen. You're working it, and I don't want to like you for some reason, but I'm liking you. I'm really liking you.
Zucker is having an amazing year.
He's a force. Like, when he gets going, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his scrum behavior. Like, drop the gloves, bro. Throw your hands. Throw your hands
but
around.
he's the size of
a pea.
A pea. Yeah, he's pea
It
sized.
doesn't matter. The bigger they are, the harder they small. It's all about leverage. I used to wrestle. I know all about having to fight bigger girls, and I've never lost.
You wrestled?
I did for 6 years. Well, in grade 8, I started, and then in through high school.
Wait, did you wrestle other girls or did you wrestle boys?
Well, I practiced with some boys. I practiced with boys and girls, but I wrestled females.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool that they have like a women girls wrestling program. That's cool.
Oh man, I gotta show you pictures one day. You'll die.
Little Jen. So that was the Tampa game on Thursday nights. The trade deadline was the next day. What a day. The Pens, I'm not sure when this happened. Was this I'm talking about the Granlund trade.
That happened. That happened the day before because he played for us. He played for us in the game against Tampa, didn't he?
He played in the Tampa game.
So
you're right. He did. Okay. Because that was it was an off day. It was I believe it was Wednesday night or something like that. Anyway, Granlund, the Penguins acquire Michael Granlund from Nashville for basically a second round draft pick. One thing that I did when I went back and watched the Nashville game, I watched Granlund. Granlund had a breakaway. He had a couple chances. Maybe that was his audition for the Penguins. Because
he makes lots of mistakes. Bring him down. Bring him down to Pittsburgh. We got a home for you.
We need this guy. He's one of us.
Actually, that was Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday was probably the wildest day of the trade deadline week.
That's the thing. It used to be trade deadline used to be just the day of the deadline. That's when all the deals happen. Now it's trade deadline week.
Well, it's like Black Friday. Now it's Black Friday week.
Yeah.
Everything. Nobody knows how everybody wants everything in like bulk, like so much. You can't just have one special day. We need to make it a week.
There was talk. There are two rumors that the Penguins were talking to Arizona about Jacob Chikrin, who is I believe a 24-year-old defenseman who ended up going to Ottawa for like
peanuts.
That
was a huge miss. That was a huge miss.
Okay.
And I watched an interview with him, and he's so sweet. And I was like, oh, this guy would have been great in Pittsburgh. He's a good man.
His dad is a commentator for Florida now.
I didn't know that.
I bet. Yeah, I was because I was watching what was I watching? Or is he a commentator? He's a commentator for someone they just played. Maybe he's a commentator for yeah, he was so anyway, Jeff Chikrin, I believe Jeff Chikrin actually almost actually played for the Penguins many years ago. But anyway, see, we don't know what happened. People are killing Hextall for not getting Chikrin. But from what I understand, the situation in Arizona is ridiculous. They are they're accusations that they're circumventing the salary cap with like this. They're doing some shenanigans with long-term injury.
Oh no, they've been under scrutiny for a while. I remember reading about actually a friend of mine. He works for the whatever it's called, the tax place in the States. And there was this
IRS.
huge scam with one of the workers from the Arizona's farm team that was actually like funneling money and sending it to, I don't really want to
Oh,
get into
wow.
it because I don't want to
Wow.
spec like, but it's, yeah, Arizona's, something stinks in Arizona.
So the, you know, the talk was, well, this is on Hextall. How could he? It's like, I think the situation was Hextall, you know, the Penguins had to have cleared space by, you know, getting rid of like
McGinn
McGinn,
and
Kapanen, yeah,
Bluger.
Bluger, yeah,
They were going for it.
They had to get rid of that space, and then
they got $5 million in.
Yeah, I think what the Penguins wanted from Arizona was, hey, can you take some of these players, or can you pay a little bit of a salary? And I think Arizona's like, hell no, because they're just all about shady financial stuff. And you know, you make a deal with Ottawa, and Ottawa takes all the salary. So I'm not blaming. Well, I don't know. We don't know what happened, but it sounds like some shady stuff was happening. So I think they were trying to get Chychrun, but they
I
just
think so too.
couldn't. I
But
thought
that
it was
just only showed, like, you know what? I don't like Hextall, and I'm not gonna like him.
Oh, nobody
ever.
does. Nobody does. He's I mean, after this Granlund trade, people were so angry.
And his quote, there's many teams that can contend for that can win the NHL, and we're one of them. I wish I had a clown nose.
Technically, he's, yeah, you had that clown. The more he talks, the more clown makeup he puts on. Yeah, I mean, technically that's true. You know, if like every other team came down with some horrible illness or something like that and wasn't able to compete, then yes, the Penguins are a Stanley Cup contender. They could win if you know, if like every other team is like stuck at the airport or something like that. That's it.
Win by default.
Win by default. Yeah, win by yeah. People, the other thing, the other rumor was that they were trying to trade with Vancouver for JT Miller. And
but that's actually the GM, Alvin, whatever his name is, Elvis. I don't know.
I think his name is Patrick Alvin or something.
Yeah,
like that.
He literally said he didn't talk to anyone about JT Miller. He wants to keep Miller in Vancouver.
He said, I did not get an offer.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that, but they were talking is what I understand. Doesn't mean a formal offer wasn't made. What Vancouver wanted, I believe, was a young center. And the Penguins don't have a young center. They don't have a young anything.
They've got 3 players under the age of 25. 26.
Yeah.
3.
So I mean, but still.
And they might be sending one to the healthy scratch.
But they don't getting JT Miller and his, I think he's making like $8 million a year for the next 7 years or something like that. That wasn't going to help. They needed help on the third line and the fourth line.
They need speed. They need youth and speed. You can have X amount of veteran players, but you also need to have on each line one player that has the speed. That player on every single line, period. I hear people talk about Sidney and Gino still have speed, and I'm like, what, are you watching games from like 10 years ago? Because sure, Sidney and Gino, I think Sidney's faster than Gino, but they only have little bursts. There's no follow through. It's like they're not as young anymore. Anyways, you need to have one young fast player on each line, period.
But they think they're fast. That's the most frustrating thing. They think they're that fast young team from 10 years ago. And they're not.
Not at all. It's frustrating.
and they acquired another guy that's old and slow and not even big. There's nothing. Not only is this team old, they're tiny.
Yeah. So we got a 32-year-old, a 31-year-old. The 32-year-old is going to be 33 in October. Who's the other one?
Well, and then they got so they got Granlund, and then on basically on Friday they get Nick Bonino from the Sharks, and they get Kulikov from Anaheim, who is apparently a defensive defenseman. So
yeah, Bonino's going to be 35 next month. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's talk about the game against Tampa or Florida when we had all our new players except for Kulikov.
We didn't have Kulikov. That's he's the key. Yeah. So Bonino played, Granlund played, and they just looked like crap. They lose 4-1 to Florida. They just
it was horrible game.
It was horrible. It looked like they didn't care.
Like, even I made note of Rust. He was rushed. Rust was rushed. Say that 10 times fast. And sloppy, like just zero connection. He does not fit on that line properly. I don't care what anyone tells me. This is just based on my own. We only had 3 shots on goal in the first period. Like, what?
It's like they didn't care. It's like I don't know.
And then we had the other team score in the last seconds of the first and second periods.
They are so good at giving up goals in the first minute and the last minute of a period. And if they're not goals, they're breakaways or odd man rushes or something like that.
That was pathetic.
Bad. It's pathetic.
It was really bad. Then the penalties, man. Oh my God. It was 32 minutes of penalties, 2 game misconducts to what's his name? Archibald and Peter Pettersson. Like, you can't afford that so much. 8 penalties with a total of 32 penalty minutes. Both for both teams. So it was just like, imagine these 2 teams faced off in the playoffs. It would be a scrum bath, not a bloodbath, a scrum bath.
Well, there was there was something where Zucker ran into Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky acted
went
like
to go, and he was like gonna jump on.
Yeah. So so that obviously now Bobrovsky was way out of the net. And Zucker says it was an accident. Okay, whatever.
It's slippery. It's ice.
Yeah, it's ice.
Sometimes it is an accident.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it happens. And but Florida wanted to kill him. Understandable.
Yeah, you know what?
There was a scrum. Casey DeSmith comes out to fight Bobrovsky, and the refs wouldn't let him. What's going on here?
I missed that. Casey came to fight.
That's a goalie's fight.
Oh my God, I love you, Casey. Love you. A little bit more on that though, like these stupid penalties, dumb penalties, 2 penalties for tripping. We had a high sticking and hooking, Gino with hooking, Tanger with slashing. Like, you boys make me sick with these dumb penalties. Like, play a little bit more responsibly. Where's hockey IQ you had? I can't handle it. Terrible game for Bonino. Terrible game. He actually had a turnover that led to Ekblad scoring, which is great because Ekblad's on my fantasy team. So thank you.
Okay, helped you out.
I know I gotta find the good and the bad. But I'm not mad about this game. Okay, you've got 2 players. There's gonna be nerves. That's fine. But it goes to show that what Hextall did not make it better. And I see a lot of Pittsburgh media people saying how they are better. And I'm like, on what scale? Like, okay, let's look at Boston. They're another older team, but they have something Pittsburgh doesn't have. They have remarkable chemistry. You don't see that on this team. You see flashes of it in a play, but they can't maintain that for a whole game. Can you even remember one game this season that they were constant, like they just owned it?
No.
It's really ugly
Maybe
hockey. I mean,
maybe for a period. That's it. No, not even that.
But
I can't remember too many games where they
they fall
dominated.
apart. They don't have that chemistry. Sullivan needs to build his lines better. I'm over the feelings. I'm so over it. I don't care how people feel. I'm lying. I do care. I'll be more sensitive, but I care about winning more. And I care about not squandering Sydney and Gino and Malkin. I know the three is all for the three of them. I don't want to squander any more years because next year they're going to be a year older.
Right.
This, like,
And somebody could get hurt.
don't say that.
Knock on wood.
I'm knocking everywhere. We've had a healthy year with Gino and Sydney. And that like never happens, not to my recollection. So usually one's out and then the other is out, or they're both out, or whatever, right? This, I don't want to squander any more time. This season, we're not winning the cup. I'm sorry, Hextall. I'm bursting your bubble, but it's not happening. Look at the caliber of other teams we will be faced off. Carolina, Boston, they'll just ruin us. However, they need to take this season as a learning experience because we can't go through this again next year. Something has to give. So we've got free agency when in July or something. We need to clean up this team a little bit. But in the meantime, we can win some games if Sullivan tuned up this lineup better and stop putting too much weight on the top two lines. Your top two lines are going to be good anyways because you've got Sydney on one and Gino on the other. Distribute the players better. Get some speed on that first line. On each line. I've got a terrible cold. Focus on speed, youth. You want, and usually your younger players will have more speed, but you need that on every line because you've got passers on each line. You've got Sydney, who's one of the best in the business. He can lace the puck to anybody, right? So if you got a player that gets ahead of him or whatever the case may be, it's so important to tune up this lineup. And don't put all your old men on center either, unless they're good at it, and they weren't very good. I mean, Bones went 45. We won 5 out of 11. Actually, we were pretty good in this game. That's probably the only thing we were good at in this game. Grunland went 3 out of 5, won 3 out of 5. Gino was 5 out of 8. Carter was 4 out of 7, and Sydney was 16 out of 24. Sydney was taking all the faceoffs that day and winning most of them, the majority of them. But the problem this team faces with, and I know I'm kind of like rambling here, is the lack of chemistry, and that has to change. If we want to see a successful team in 3 periods, it has to change. So my advice is to rework the schedule, the lineup, and forget about people's feelings, players' feelings. Because guys, this isn't it.
So you mean so
I'm going to do a lineup suggestion after tomorrow night's game.
Okay.
I want to see with Kulikov here.
He's gonna fix everything. I'm telling you, he's the man. Kulikov is gonna rip this team up.
10 friggin' defensemen.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? Like during the summer, they had too many. They had like I think 8 NHL defensemen, and someone said to Hextall, "You sure have a lot of defensemen. Are you going to do something about it?" It's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll make some moves." Well, he didn't, and now we have even more. So basically, what happened in the trade deadline is they got rid of Kapanen, Bluger, and McGinn and brought in Granlund, Bonino, and Kulikov. Okay.
So we got older and slower.
Yeah. It's great. We're the oldest and lightest team.
When I send you all the old men dancing at the retirement,
yeah,
I'm like, this is what a Pens party looks like.
Basically.
Win?
Basically, yeah. So right now, it looks like the third line is maybe Granlund in the center, maybe Carter in the center with O'Connor. That's the third line. The fourth line is Bonino in the center with Heinen and Archibald.
That's not what I saw.
Okay.
I saw someone tag me on it. The third line is O'Connor, Granlund center, and Carter on the wing. Fourth line is Bonino on the wing, Paling, and Archibald on the wing.
Okay, Paling might be playing. That's good. That's good. I mean, that's kind of the whole reason we got Bonino is because of Paling. We don't know whether he's reliable or not. Also, speaking of not knowing if he's reliable or not, it's freaking Tristan Jarry, who didn't play against Florida because he's sick. Hey, it happens. People are sick, but it's always something with this dude.
I don't know. Like we talked about this a little bit last week and about how I think there's more to it. Like I thought he was injured since game 1 of this season, and he's just been re-injuring or re-aggravating the injury. But I think at this point it might be mental. I don't know. Like, you know, it's frustrating. Like an hour before the game, we get announced that Jarry's not playing because he's not feeling well. Okay.
Yeah. You're not feeling well right now, and you're performing at a high level. What the heck?
Right?
Seriously.
But it's like, what's going on here? Like someone, you know what? I want to think the best, but I really hope like this isn't a collapse of another Pittsburgh Penguins goalie. That's where goalies come to die for a little bit and then be reborn again.
It doesn't matter who they got. If they would have got Chikrin or JT Miller or whoever the heck they got, if your goalie can't show up, is not available, you're not winning anything. And that to me is the biggest indictment of Hextall. Why did you not get a better backup goalie? DeSmith is nice, but he's not. He's
DeSmith wasn't even the problem last game. And this is another thing. And I'm sorry, I sound a little rude right now. And I love you. I love you, Joe. But DeSmith isn't even the worst player on this team. He was phenomenal in this game. Yes, he lets in a few bad goals, but you got to remember the team in front of them. They're not protecting him as well as they could. Not with all 10 defensemen. Maybe if we put all 10 defensemen. No, but seriously, he faced 42 shots against Florida. Okay. And he doesn't have a strong team, a connected team in front of him. And I can't imagine the pressures that's on him. It's statistically proven that the Pens play better in front of Tristan Jarry than they do Casey. And it's also statistically proven that Jarry is not even that far better than Casey. They're actually a lot closer in skill.
Is it a mental thing?
I mean, I could break Casey open. I could bring this is the problem that I have with people and like their coaching styles. It's like, what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong here? Because you've got a player that potentially could be great. Like Casey has kept us in games. We've talked about this. Casey's played more than he would likely if we had a healthy Tristan Jarry. But Casey's kept us in games, facing 45 shots again. It was the Ducks. Like he puts out good work and people love to hate on him. And sure, he's got a, like he gets a rebound scored on him more times than I'd like to count. But he's not like, I think Jarry and Tristan are actually a lot closer. But then again, I always go against the norm. Like everybody, it's like I'm watching different games. Everybody hates Dumoulin and Casey, and I'm like, like Heinen, like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything.
The problem is Casey DeSmith is just fine, but this team doesn't require a goalie that's just fine. They require a goalie that's exceptional because they leave the goalie out to dry because they're crap defensively. Any normal goalie on any other team does not face the kind of shots that they face on this team.
Yeah, because Casey would do a lot better on a team that had a better.
Oh, definitely, defense, definitely.
So, like in Casey's defense, and I will always stand up for Casey, one of my favorite humans on the planet. He I don't know. He did a favor. He helped me out with something one time. So that's why I support people that, I care about. So
He's just fine. He's just fine. But the problem is this team doesn't require a
and
goalie
it's
that's
like, why
just
are
fine.
people always, why are people like honing in on one person when it's a collective?
Because it's easy to blame the goalie. That's why. They see
I'm
the puck
tired
go
of that.
past the goalie and they say, "Oh, well, clearly that was the Smith's
How
fault."
did we break Flower and how did we break Murray? So now we're gonna go and break Casey too because we're not supporting. Like,
Fleury leaves to go to Vegas, and he becomes this awesome goalie. And they ask him, "Why are you so better now with Vegas than you were with Pittsburgh?" He's like, "Well, they actually play defense in Vegas." He didn't say those exact words, but he basically inferred that.
Love Flower.
It's ridiculous. It's been like this forever that they require the goalie just like, oh, hey, okay, in this game, you're going to take 5 breakaways and 2 3-on-1s and 3 3-on-1s and maybe a 4-on-1 and maybe a 5-on-0. Maybe we'll just sit back and watch. We'll see
And
what
you might
see
get
what
run
you do.
into once or twice by the
Right. We're going to
players, and we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to let it happen.
And that's bottom line is if they do play better with Jarry, if Jarry is not up to if he is unable to play in anything,
fulfill his duties.
Yes, if he is unable to fulfill his duties, this team is going nowhere, and that's sad. That is sad.
Unless devil's advocate, unless we get connected, because a very, very strongly connected team with chemistry is magic. And if they can play better in front of the goalie, that takes a little bit of pressure off the goalie. And that's when the magic happens. So it's time for it
is very possible that when the playoffs start, a switch will go off and things will be wonderful. And I'm not joking. Bonino is a playoff warrior. And yes, he's 93 years old, but still, he is a playoff warrior. There might be players on that team that are like very good in the playoffs and not so good in the regular season. So maybe.
Hey man, I'm not gonna steal your joy on this. I've been watching Carolina and Boston play, and there's no switch. There's no switch to beat these teams. And I don't even know.
What about their chances against the New Jersey?
New Jersey, just give me.
I think they have a shot against New Jersey.
Them? I need a minute. We play them this month, don't we? No. We play them next month.
We do not play them this month.
Okay, so they beat us. 3 times out of 4 this year. That I don't have to answer.
Is that bad?
No, my swept us. They won all 4 or 5.
I have a feeling if things go well, that they could catch the Rangers, because even though the Rangers
are better than us.
They are, but on paper they're better.
But they beat us in the playoffs 2 times in the last.
Yeah, but it's a different team. Now they have Kane and what's his Tarasenko and
no, they're a good team.
They're a good team.
They didn't win their first game with them, but neither did we. Like when you bring a new player into a team, it takes a bit of time to find. That team's deadly. I say it now.
They're super talented.
I think they have our number in the playoffs. So
they have. Well, yeah, they also have like an insanely good goalie. That helps too. But sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen, not the best thing.
That was happening in Toronto for a while, but they've stayed in the top 5 for the past I don't know how many seasons. And I you know what? If Murray's on his game, Toronto can do it too.
Toronto's going far.
I'm
telling you, this is their year. They're going to go far, unless they play Boston, then they're screwed. But then again, here's another prediction: Boston's not winning the cup.
I'm sorry, I lost you. I'm like, what happened?
I was broke.
I think Boston has a good chance of winning. They've lost 13 games.
How many times have we seen the President's Trophy winner not win the Stanley Cup? Almost.
I don't know, but how many times have we watched the President's Trophy winner win the Stanley Cup?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. It doesn't happen that often.
Didn't we do it?
No. No, the Penguins won the President's Trophy, I believe, in 92, 93, and that was the year they had a loaded team and they lost to the Islanders in the playoffs, and the Islanders sucked.
I was 10. I vaguely remember that. The Islanders actually won the year I was born.
The Islanders had that dynasty, so in the 80s. That was a fun time. It was the Islanders dynasty, and then it was the Oilers dynasty.
Oilers, yeah.
Yeah.
So while you're looking that up, I'm just going to go over our errors for the last 3 games.
Okay.
We had 29 turnovers. That gives us a total of 590. And we had 36 missed shots, which gives us a total of 774 with an average total of 1,364 with an average of 22 per game. I would like to see that number cut in half.
It's funny that when you have such an old team that you would think it would be a more disciplined, smart team. And
Right.
that's very much not the case. Yeah.
Like I was watching this with Rust, and Rust has always been a very smart player. And I'm watching him and I'm like, what do you
something's wrong with Rust this year.
What's the thought process there? Sidney too. He's got the puck and he's looking around. Who can I pass it to? Shoot it your damn self. Move the puck. You're one of the best in the league.
If you're all friends and you're all buddies and you're so close, then you should have better chemistry and better higher hockey IQ.
No, the thing about them all being friends and the lack, I don't buy it because they don't have any chemistry. So it's an act, or we're not hearing something. But this team has no chemistry, none.
It's been 10 years since the President's Trophy winner won the cup. The last time it happened was 2012, 2013, the Chicago.
Right.
So it's a curse. I'm telling
dynasty.
you.
I was actually sad. I was sad when Kane left, and I don't even like Chicago, but I was just like, it hurt my heart a little.
End of an era.
End of Taves and Kane. Yeah.
End of an era. I mean,
Taves and Kane. Hockey errors are like, they hurt my soul. But then I was thinking, you know what? Since we're so old and slow, can we bring Yager back for a game?
Seriously, why not?
We start winning. That guy is insane. But back to my errors. We had Letang with 5 turnovers in first, and Gensel with 7 missed shots. Maintenance day, I need you on the ice shooting that puck, 100 pucks on a shooter tutor. I don't care how stupid you think you are. Close the rink. Don't let anyone see. Get on the ice and start working on your accuracy. In second, we have Gensel and Gino with 3 turnovers each. Yeah, Letang was first with 5. And then in third, we have Joseph, Rust, Sidney, and Bonino. And Bonino had 2 in 1 game. So rough stuff there. And missed shots, like I said, Gensel was 7. And then Sidney, Raquel, and Gino had 4 each. And Raquel and Letang and Joseph had 3 each. I've noticed a decline in Joseph's game. His errors are up. His confidence is down. And that's why, like, he's young, right? How old is Joseph? Is what?
He's very young. And
so
maybe he hasn't played this much, and maybe it's wearing on him.
It's possible, or there could be other issues, like we don't know what goes on in the locker room. And but this is a player, this is an issue. Focus on that.
So as it looks right now, Kulikov is replacing Joseph, and Kulikov will play on that third pair with Ruda. And
no comment. It's so stupid. Like, get rid of Peach. Who we got here? Okay, Dumoulin's not going anywhere. We know that. No matter how bad. Do I think he belongs on the first line or pairing? No. Pettersson's kind of fallen off a little bit too. But he's definitely, I'd say, top 3 defenseman, top 2. I don't know. It's messy there. Letang's always going to stay in this first pairing because he's Letang, but he earns it. He makes a lot of mistakes though too. See, as a coach, I'd be sitting there going, I might not have him on my top pairing personally, but that's just me. Yeah, and then Petrie, get him out of here. I don't like Petrie. I haven't liked him at all. He's going to be 36 this year at the end of the year. But like, he's okay. He had one good game.
Yeah. There's hope that there's hope that he gets better as the season goes on, and that he comes on at the end of the season, and that's all it is. You just hope. You hope. That's it.
That's all we have now, Joe, is hope.
That's it. That's all we got is hope, and that's it. It's very sad.
Are we gonna have an end of the season podcast of us laughing again?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
what we're also going to have an end of the season podcast when they fire Hextall, which will probably be like the day after
the day after we're eliminated from hockey for the season.
Yeah, that's all he's done is make this team old and slower, and
maybe he's looking at Boston like, if they can do it, we can do it. And you know what? We absolutely can, but we don't have chemistry.
The average age of this team is 30.5, and the average weight of this team is 193 pounds. That is the oldest and the smallest. Whatever happened to when Hextall was hired? It's like, we're going to be tougher, we're going to be harder to play against, we're going to be tougher. It's like, what do you mean? You're a bunch of old men. And you just get older.
Yeah. No, you know what? Like I said before, like, we've squandered another year of hockey from our big three. I can't deal with it. I had to watch the last 5 seasons of this team get eliminated from round 1. If they make the playoffs this year, there's still a good chance, they're not going anywhere. And it's like, it breaks my heart to see these years get squandered by some, and specifically Sydney, like one of the best players to ever lace up a pair. I cannot watch this happen much longer. So if Hextall's still there next season, I will riot. Mark it. I will be outside Cranberry screaming. I
don't take any happiness in anybody getting fired, but let's just say if they, when's the next game? The next game is at home against Columbus. That's a win. But then Thursday.
No, the Leafs just lost to Columbus.
The next game is Thursday, home against the Islanders. If that does not go well, there might be a few more fire Hextall chance. Just saying.
Yeah, we play the Rangers 3 times this month too.
And really, he's done his job. The trade deadline's over. GMs don't have anything else to do. So maybe fire him now. He's done.
I am so surprised he was not fired the day after the trade deadline. I was like, there's no way. There's no way they're keeping this guy.
What else does he have to do? I mean, really, you could have anybody do his job now. He's
ruined this team.
He basically has. He basically has. For the people that say, "Oh my God, why didn't you keep McCann?" Like that wasn't a thing. Like I understand.
McCann's been having a killer season.
He's been having a great season, but he's also been like, he's basically, I think, on their top line. So
it doesn't matter what line you are on. Like
McCann was on this team for 3 years, and he didn't do that much. So
chemistry. What's the factor here? What is the factor here? Is it him? Is it the teammates, or is it the coach?
Makes you wonder. Why
he's good?
Why does he do so well on that other team and not when he was with this team?
Yeah. Breaks my heart he's gone. And I'm so happy to see him doing well, especially Tanev. Tanev's having a good season as well. But that was just malarkey.
Tanev, that hurts. Tanev hurts. He would have been awesome on this team, and he's exactly what they need. Fast, tenacious. He actually cares. He was that one hurts a lot. McCann, I get, because his contract was going to be up in whatever.
I would not have. He protected Carter. Nobody would have taken Carter.
He protected Carter. You gotta wonder.
The 37-year-old.
You gotta wonder what's going on there. It is very clear that Carter should be benched. Carter should not have been protected, and Carter gets everything.
Carter needs to play when we play dominant teams that are offensively strong, so he can win the face-off and then just leave the ice. Just go right to the bench. Win it.
You know that song, I Got Friends in Low Places? Jeff Carter has friends in high places.
Sure does, doesn't he? I used to too.
Okay. On that note, let's go. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, and thank you for the cards.
Oh, I didn't even see them.
See?
Oh, my stuff.
I'm not going to put on the other side of what you said, but
don't publicize that. I did on Twitter.
It rhymes with schmuckstall. And I found your the autograph that you got from Dave Hansen of the Chiefs.
Slapshot.
From Slapshot, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. I was trying to fill that last page of the collection, but I couldn't. I mean, I threw in a Marc-Andre Fleury because I knew you'd like him. But there was no other extras, right? And I'm like, all right, I'll just make my own little, note in it, and it worked out well.
Perfect.
I'm so glad you got it, all of it. I'm so happy.
I'm so happy too. All right.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I'll see you.
Ciao.
Bye.